Okay, hello. Welcome to the IVF Daddies podcast. My name is Julio, and today we have a special guest following up with our last podcast. His name is Junior.
Hi. Hey, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited to be here at IVF Daddies to give you the little rundown of our other side.
My first question will be, what would make you nervous specifically about this? Because I know that you have not spoken about this particular topic.
Because it's personal. One of the things that I have is that I tend to be, I do believe that I am a friendly person, approachable person, but my line draws when it comes to my personal life and my family. So for me, that nervous parts, it comes there because it's hard for me to allow you in or anyone else other than just my family. So is that nervous part.
Do you feel like it's always been like that, or it just happened after getting involved in your marriage?
No, I've always been like that when it comes to my personal life. Selective people, I'll allow them into, but this specifically is not just about me. It's about not only my husband, but also my son and his other dad. So there's other people that take a place in that a part of what I'm about to talk about today. So
When you say it's you and your husband and your son, and how many people have reached out to you saying, how can you do this? Or I'm in the same situation as you. Guide me through. Can you give me any advice?
yeah, social media is a great place where everybody reaches out. A lot of people sometimes do reach out because they're going through a specific situation and they're at the borderline where their current relationship is going through something. They want to know my story of what happened to maybe help them in a sense to find a sort of way of comfort to say that it's okay. Sometimes you just got to realize that it's over. But just so you can get a little bit of a glimpse is that Roman wasn't the only one that divorced. I divorced too.
Really?
Look at your face and look at Richard's.
This is not only going to be educational, but also tea is going to be really hot. Spill the
He is coming out, huh? Sometimes I do want to believe that people do have a fault and sometimes don't, and you just grow apart. In this instance, it was that. We knew that we weren't together, that we weren't really connecting anymore. So it was just a matter of time of when are we gonna pull the plug? So when I met Roman, it was one of those moments that, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to pull the plug over here in order so I can plug it in over there.
With the difference that you didn't have either kids or dogs or pets or something that would hold unconsciously uncouple, like consciously uncouple, like Gwyneth Paltrow. Then you met Roman, and then I love how you confidently say you have a son. For how long have you guys been together?
We've been together a little over 7 years.
And how old is
Elliot is 9.
Okay.
Yeah, like almost 7.5. Because I met him when he was a year and like a couple of months. Yeah.
And what made you click the fact that you could say, I am like he's my son? Because I can give you an example from my perspective. When I heard it from the kids saying I feel like I have 3 dads, that is just like my world changed. That made every fight or argument or obstacles in a relationship completely, like, you have to choose your battles, because this is no longer about just him and I, is the kids, and also the impact that it's going to have to the other father too. And what was that for you?
Every time he says it, there's a great weight that comes along with those, but it also breaks and melts me at the same time. You know what I'm talking about. But for me, when I heard it the first time, it was scary, because although that I knew that he had a son and there was a child in the picture, I don't believe that I fully understood what that meant. But the first time that he started saying my third dad or my dad, and it pierced, it really did. And it helped me understand that it was way more than just Roman and I. Everything that we were doing and every decision that we were about to make revolved around him. And that's the weight that I started to understand. And I had to evaluate myself. I remember that first year where I'm like, do I really want to do this? Not because I doubted it, not because I didn't want this, but because there was this little person
That chose you.
yeah, and that he's accepted me, and I'm like, and do I understand? Do I know how to be a dad? And that was the scary part, not knowing how to be a dad, because I never had a father figure in my life, and I never seen what a father is supposed to do, or what are you supposed to say, or how to be present. So she was just
Where are you guys from?
Mexico.
Okay, so I'm from Latin America. I'm from Venezuela, and I'm gonna go get cigarettes and never come back. That is very common. Before Richard, there was a couple of people that I dated, two specifically, that they were looking for having kids, and now, boop, like, no, like, this is not happening. Then my brother had kids, and then it was almost like my brother's kids helping them move out of Venezuela to Spain, and meeting Richard with the kids that happened to be the same age made me realize that everything like had a purpose in the puzzle. So for me, it was like, okay, so great. Someone with kids and a divorce is, in my head, it was like, okay, so at some point you're going to deal with the kids, and then at some point the kids are going to be with the other dad. But then when you love someone, how can you not love the kid that is like a replica of the person that you love? Like, whether it's almost like the apple fall from the trees, like the apple rolled down the tree, and it's all like ingrained and responsibility. At the beginning, I took it as a game of, I'll bribe these kids so they love me. And then now
with any kid,
that's the easiest part. But then when things evolve in the relationship, and then Richard was like, okay, you have to ask for permission for certain gifts or presents or rules or boundaries. And then the kids were like, you're not on the same side of us you used to be a couple months ago. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a different relationship now. And I want to ask you, what does it feel like to have boundary or rule or structure that when you implement it, you need to be careful from the kid and parenting skills of your partner?
In the beginning, I want to say that, like I mentioned, we're years now down the road, but in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me to say something, correct him if he did something, for me to say that's not okay. Or even if it's, I've always said it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes I would second doubt myself on how to say it, because is this okay or is it not okay by my husband or even the other dad? That was a little difficult in the beginning, but now they've given me the freedom. They have that trust with me, not only my husband, but also my husband's ex-husband, Alex. We have a good relationship, co-parenting relationship. He's a great father and he's very present. But also when he's there, or they're both there, and I need to correct Elliot, or I need to say something, or even he's going to get some time out, they don't say, no, you can't say that or do that. But that took a while. Right?
Put you aside. Don't say anything, but then later on,
conversations had to happen so that I can understand what's their goal and what type of parenting they want to get there. But then my character is way different than theirs. I'm not the one to go around the bush. They believe in the...
You don't sugarcoat.
I really don't. And I was raised
I don't sugarcoat because Richard will eat it.
Yeah, I can see that. And then my husband is the same way too. He loves the sweets, so he would eat everything.
There was a time that I realized that giving structure would immediately affect Richard's parenting skills, or saying something that wasn't even directly attached to the other dad of the kids, but talking about one specific topic, and then, or like smoking, and then the other dad happened to smoke, and I would say smoking is bad, and then they would assume that I am just attacking the other dad and I try to do everything I can to just, this is a dull situation. Also, we don't really have a bad relationship. We all live a block away from each other and we just switch houses. I love these kids so much. And sometimes I see Richard working from home and I also work from home. And sometimes we're like, can we try to do something together? Can we not be on a device? And then you have to have a partnership and say, let's be together in this one. Otherwise, you're the dad. They're not going to hate you. If anything, I'll be the enemy if I say something that you don't agree or you will change your mind. And then until you realize that we all have the same goals. And at the same time, if you think being a dad is difficult, being a stepdad is like the tightest rope I've ever walked.
It really is, because I think there's a key part that you mentioned earlier when you would say something and it's maybe a little habit that the other dad has, and it may come off as you're talking bad about the other dad when that was never your intent.
Not even close.
That didn't even cross.
I didn't even know that the other dad smoked.
And those are little details that it sucks, because that was never your intention. You were just trying to help, and it's the common sense that for some is common sense, but that's what I would say we all try to teach all kids, whether it's my kid or not. Just for example, you use smoking is bad for you, period. Although maybe half of our family smoke and they'll start asking questions. But I get it. I understand what you're saying, because it's like you said, you're on a tightrope, and sometimes whatever comes out of your mouth or whatever you do or say, it sucks because you're walking on eggshells. I think that it comes to the point that if there's an issue, we've learned to communicate and we learned to say, hey, something that was not cool what you just said, but we pulled each other to the side. And we've gotten really good at that. There's certain things that we've spoken about that we absolutely don't agree with. And that is something that we do not want to teach Elliot, and we do not want him to be involved in certain things. And it's nothing bad. It's just
steps at the right age, because sometimes when you're 8 or 9 or 10, that game or that one thing for them is the most important thing in their lives. Mm-hmm. And for you, it's like, this is something that is either affecting him. Is it convenient, or is it something that is affecting everyone?
Absolutely. For example, he's 9 years old. I think about, I want to say a year and a half, give or take. He asked me, he came from school and he's asking me a question about what is sex. And I'm like, whoa, that was a curveball now. And now I'm talking, and I wanted to talk to him and tell him, absolutely, I can have this conversation with you. But we always have to keep in mind that his age, and we need to explain things accordingly to their age. However, for me, that wasn't my pause. My pause was, I'm the stepdad. Is it my place to talk to him about sex? So I went to my husband and I'm like, hey, Elliot asked me this question and he's got those. And it's like, is it cool if I talk to him in regard to that? And then also, not only him, but also Alex. And then Alex is just, okay, I can talk to him, or do you want to talk to him? I'm okay, but I just wanted to make sure that this is cool with you. And for me, that was important because, again, sometimes we feel like we're walking on eggshells, but then the most important part also for me, they know that I understand who they are and that I give them their place as their father. Not because I'm diminishing myself as a dad.
Not all. Not and all. You never want to take their place.
No, absolutely not. But it's my way of saying, hey, I respect you, and I never want to overstep. But then we've never gotten that far to a specific subject like that, where I know, do I have this freedom or not? So when you say certain things, when you talk to the kids, or even, it's hard because sometimes you feel like you're going to say the wrong thing, and be cool with that.
For me, I am very easy. Grew up with my dad divorced. I have sisters 10 years younger. That if you say the word half sisters, you will go after you.
Yeah,
we are not half siblings. We're like,
well, my brothers and sisters we're half siblings also, but we never say that. We always say mi hermana is mi hermano. Yes, brothers and sisters. That's it. There's no there's no difference in it.
And my niece and nephew, I'm like a little bit so competitive that I said to them, you can get like, I don't see them that often. I do have some video games that I play with them. And then whenever I'm with them, I'll get them whatever they want. And I say like, why are you so handsome? And they say, because I look like Uncle Julio, because then you'll get whatever you want. But then there's moments that I allow them to be who they are, because intrinsically there's two types of people. You're going to do it behind your back, or you're going to be you and say it to you. And I don't want kids to be afraid to say, I'm terrified to say this to my parents. I rather have the kids to say, I want to come to my parents when I'm going through something like this. So when the kids are doing something that makes Richard feel bad, Richard is an extension of me. So if he feels bad, I feel bad. And that's when I have to say, okay, you don't have the last word. Adults have the last word. But it's never anything against the kid. It's more of respect and boundaries in the house. And after that, it's more like, I still love you. Let's still do things together, but just like in this particular topic.
I get it, because I've had conversations with Elliot, and Elliot knows and he has it very clear. I'm not your friend. I'm your dad.
Yeah.
And I leave that very clear, because I need that distinguishment to be set from day one. Because as a stepdad, we come off a lot as your friend.
Oh, at the beginning, I was. They
really
said to
does.
me, "You are not as cool as he used to be."
Yeah.
I'm like,
but I'm happy to hear that, because you're taking on that. You're understanding what is not just part of being Richard's partner. It's about being more than that, not only in his life, but in these kids' lives. And that's the most important factor out of everything, is the children. And everything, every decision, everything that we do, it revolves around Elliot. But in this case, it's like, when for Elliot, it's just, he knows that I'm not his friend, but then he knows also that he can talk to me about anything. And I tell him that constantly, that it doesn't matter what it is, I will not be upset.
well, I
I
think
want him to have that trust.
I think that happens a lot with the kids, especially the girl, especially with Lulu, because Xander, I believe that when you have two kids, boy and a girl, the needs are going to be at different ages. And I even tell Richard, when they come and talk to me, they come and talk to me and tell me the story, and I'm not trying to fix it. The worry that I have, that I sometimes feel like, am I too involved? Should I take 2 steps back? It's really hard to find out where your boundaries are as a step parent.
I would say this, since you love fashion, because I always see you dressing very nice and whatnot. It's better to be, that phrase when they say it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. I think that when it comes to parenting, it's the same way. I'd rather be an overprotector and over parent than under.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just get into it with my partner and say that he tells me, hey, that wasn't your place, but at least I know that I'm not second doubting that I should have said or done something about that when I saw it or something happened.
Have you spent time alone with, like, when like both parents are like away from work or whatever?
Absolutely, all the time.
And what's your outtake on it?
It's a very normal day for us. We're alone all the time. Sometimes we'll go out together, depending on if it's a school night, then there's no going out. But if it's the weekend, then we'll do like a father and son date out, and let's go watch a movie. Let's go out he loves restaurants. We're raising a monster in regard to that. But he loves food. He loves restaurants, and it's not cheap restaurants. So it's like, dude, you need to like lower your standards.
Like, let me show you. Like,
yeah. But every other kid, he loves his McDonald's also. So sometimes it's okay, like good little Frenchie, and then boom, he hits you with the McDonald's. He's like, the American side.
And then Nobu.
Then Nobu, there you go. But yeah, he loves restaurants. But yeah, we have our moments like that where we're alone. It happens. Alex travels a lot. Sometimes my husband has to travel, or I have to travel. So if it's not one parent, it's the other. It's really nice, because that quality time means a lot for me too.
Yeah.
And I want him to have that quality time with me too.
It's really funny, because Lulu, one time she was in the car and she just, out of the blue, she said, Papa, if I go from billionaire to a millionaire, will you be disappointed at me? We were like, let's just first get homework up to date done.
Yeah.
But we will never be disappointed at you if you go from billionaire to millionaire. Like, we will love you no matter what. His energy comes and goes. But the fact is just like, when they have all these questions, and I feel like Lulu and I, we take all the air in the room. We're like center stage, and Xander and Richard are like snipers from the side. They're like, sometimes I do make an effort to do alone quality with both of them. And with Xander, you have to put a mirror under his nose to see if he's breathing. And with Lulu, it's like, what's the budget? What are we spending? Where are you taking me? Can I get the extra large of everything? I'm like,
break your wallet.
I'm like, I don't want to break up with your dad, so I need to follow rules. Thank you so much for being a voice and talking about this.